Welcome back to another episode of Frankly Speaking from Dr. Sanjay Modi. And today I'm going to, speak on the presentation that I'm going to give at the LMHI colloquium between 10th to 12th of December. And how do I see in the light of what I'll be talking to you about? So, to make a short beginning about what I'm going to present, let me ask you a question. What happens if you go and complain to a mother about her child who hit another child? How do you think she would react to this complaint of yours? Well, it's obvious that her initial reaction would be of denial, because it's natural for her to have a very positive image of a child. And she would want that, the society also should have the same positive image about a child. Why? Because mothers are generally positively prejudiced about the child's innocence, capabilities, and performances, etc. Even when she is aware of the actual facts, she refuses to see any fault in her dear child. India has the maximum number of registered homeopaths, yet number of practicing homeopaths is less. Why? Are we also somewhere positively prejudiced about homeopathy? So the question that keeps bothering me more often is, what ails today's homeopath? And one of the factors is unfounded optimism, or shall I say positive prejudice of those who are practicing homeopathy. The outcome of which is nobody comes up openly to discuss about their failure cases in homeopathy. Everywhere there is a demonstration of successful cases only. But in reality, facts don't corroborate to what is claimed. And this only results in disillusionment from what has been taught to them. Let's face the fact that we still have a challenge about the acceptability at the mass level. Why? Because homeopaths, even today, rely on beliefs and faith rather than on testability and objectivity. Yes? See, scientific methodology is crucial as it provides an unbiased view of the world and refines knowledge. Across all scientific disciplines, the major percepts of the scientific methods are very important: verifiability, predictability, falsifiability, and fairness. There are 9 main characteristics of a science, which I will underline to you. First is objectivity. Second is verifiability. Third is ethical neutrality. Fourth is systematic exploration. Fifth is reliability. Sixth, precision. Seventh, accuracy. Eighth, abstractness. And ninth, predictability. So we'll see in short, what I mean by first, objectivity. See, scientific knowledge is objective. Objectivity simply means the ability to see and accept facts as they are, not as one might wish them to be. To be objective, one has to guard against, his own biases, beliefs, wishes, value, and preferences. Because objectivity demands that one must set aside all sorts of subjective considerations and prejudices. It involves eliminating bias or even systematic distortions of one's observation. So what is second point? And that is verifiability. Science rests upon sense data. That is data gathered through senses. That is eye, ear, nose, tongue, and touch. But scientific knowledge is based on verifiable evidence. That is, there is a concrete factual observations so that other observers can observe, weigh, or measure the same phenomena and check out observations for accuracy. That is verifiability. The third is ethical neutrality. So science is ethically neutral. It only seeks knowledge. How this knowledge is to be used is determined by societal values. Knowledge can be put to differing uses. Knowledge about atomic energy can be used to cure diseases or to wage atomic warfare. Ethical neutrality does not mean that the scientist has no values. It only here means that he must not allow his values to distort the design and the conduct of his research. Thus, scientific value knowledge is value neutral, or we can say it's value free. So when we come to the third part of it, that is systematic exploration. A scientific research adopts a certain sequential procedure, an organized plan or design of research for collecting an analysis of facts about the problem under study. Generally, this plan includes a few scientific steps. There is one, what is known as formulation of hypothesis. Then there is collection of facts. Then there is analysis of facts. So here we have classification, coding, tabulations, and then a scientific generalization and a prediction. So one has to systematically explore whatever concept one is having. The fifth is reliability. Scientific knowledge must occur under prescribed circumstances, not once. It's very important. It should not happen only once, but repeatedly. It is reproducible under the circumstances, stated anywhere and anytime. Conclusions that are based on causal recollections are not very reliable. Sixth, we come to precision. Very important. Because scientific knowledge is precise. It is not vague like a literary writing. Precision requires exact number or measurement. Like instead of saying most of the people are against love marriages, the scientific researchers will say that 90% of the people are against love marriages. So that's a precise understanding that gets transmitted or goes across. The seventh is accuracy. Scientific knowledge is accurate. A physician, like a common man, will not say that patient has a slight temperature or a very high temperature. That is a little vague way of talking about. But after measuring with the help of a thermometer, he'll pronounce that the patient is having 101.2 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. So it has to be very clearly specified. There is some aspect of confusion that can get into the mind of the listeners about what is accuracy and precision. So just to give you a little difference, it's a very minor difference, but very important one. If you have played the dart game, that will explain the difference of accuracy and precision very clearly. See, accurately hitting the target means you are close to the center of the target, even if all the marks are on the different sides, but you are near the target. Whereas precisely hitting a target means that all your hits are closely spaced, even if they are far away from the center of the target. So are you understanding? If the center is here, even though you find that all the arrows hit on one specific point, it will be precise. So to hit on that particular target, the person has to be precise also as well as accurate also. So it will not, it should not be just one instance that just goes and hits the center. Then that will be not precision. So accuracy has to go with precision. The eighth characteristic of a science is abstractness. Science proceeds on the plane of abstraction. A general scientific principle is highly abstract. It is not interested in giving a realistic picture. And the ninth one that is very important is predictability. Scientists do not merely describe the phenomena being studied, but also attempt to explain and predict as well. Due to the precise nature of science and scientific works, they are very easily predictable. Science does not allow for huge uncertainties and unknown variables. All unknown variables and uncertainties must therefore be eliminated so as to allow for a more predictable and reliable result. So we saw what are the important 9 characteristics that every science possesses. Time has come where we need to truthfully introspect how much of these characteristics can homeopathy meet for it to stand up against modern medicine. So to raise the bar in homeopathy, I did an RCT in the current pandemic. It's a small step to the leap we are all expecting in homeopathy. Because homeopathy became one of the mainstream branch of medicine where the general population had hope during the current COVID-19 pandemic. We all are aware about that particular thing. Homeopathy was in a limelight during COVID-19 when Ayush claimed that arsenic album 30 will work as a safeguard from COVID-19 to maintain their health when the directives were followed. But a similar claim came from Shankaran in the media for using camphor 1M as a preventive. Now, this created conflict and doubt, not only in the minds of the people, but even homeopathic practitioners. Am I correct? Hence, it was necessary to affirm the same without prejudice. The role of arsenic album and or camphor as a preventive for COVID-19 in healthy subjects. The best way to achieve this objective was by conducting a randomized controlled trial to determine the effect of so-called genus epidemicus against a control of placebo during the ongoing pandemic. Now the study holds an absolute relevance because the time frame in which it was done, it was between June 2020 to December 2020, which coincided with the first phase of COVID-19 wave, where India reported maximum cases in September 2020 at that time. So the time frame was perfect to probably get the study done. Now the outcome of which I'm going to present in the coming LMHI colloquium between 10 to 12th of December. So I hope to see you there for an informative session. Because together we can be that change to make a difference in homeopathy. Thank you so much and God bless you.